Alright, so in this lab we are going to be making a simple battery out of a couple halves of a lemon and some copper and zinc metal. We are only doing 2 cells in this lab just because we don't have very much copper and zinc to use, and we also only had 1 lemon. So what you're going to do to start out is you're going to get your copper and you're just going to push it into the lemon. And then you're going to get your zinc and you're going to do the same thing. So you'll have copper and zinc in there. You want them to be not touching, because if they're touching, that'll short it out. And then you're going to take your 2 others and just do it to the other half of the lemon. So you have them set up like that. Now, what's going on here, just to explain a little bit, your zinc is your anode. That means it's the negative side of the battery. The copper is the cathode, which is the positive side, of course. So then what you're going to do after that is you are going to take your wire, we just have a jumper that we're going to use, and connect it to the positive end of one of the batteries, like so. And then you're going to take the other end and you're going to connect it to the negative end of the other battery, which just fell out. So now you have them connected like that. And then you've created a series circuit with essentially two batteries in them. You're going to take your black jumper, or you can use any color jumper, but traditionally you use black for the negative electrode. And you're going to connect it to the leftover zinc electrode of the battery. And then you're going to take your red one, or yet again whatever color, and connect it to the positive electrode. And so now you should have it kind of set up like this, with 2 leads on the end. And these will be your voltage out. Alright, so now we are going to hook the lemons up to a multimeter so that we can test 2 parameters. We're going to be testing voltage, and we're also going to be testing the short circuit amperage. So we're going to turn our multimeter on. And as you can see, we have it set to the 2000 milliamp or millivolt setting. On DC volts, because we're probably not going to get over 2 volts out of these lemons. So you're just going to hook the colors up. Black goes to black, and red goes to red. And if we look at our multimeter, we are getting 1,865 milliamps, or volts, which is not a lot. It's about 1.9 volts if you round up. It's not too terribly high. But now we're going to go ahead and switch it over to the DC amps. So we'll set it on the 200 milliamp setting if we get that. I doubt that we will. So we need something lower than that. Alright, so now we have it set on the 2,000 microamp setting. So we're getting about 245 microamps. A very, very tiny amount. That's not really enough to power much. But it will be enough to just barely power this LED that we're turning on. Alright, now we're going to proceed to hook up our LED to the lemons and try and get a tiny bit of light out of it. So if you remember, the long lead is the cathode, the short lead is the anode. So you hook up the negative side to the short lead and the positive side to the long lead. And if you can see, it's just barely on. Not a whole heck of a lot of light coming out of there, but that's mainly because we don't have a whole lot of amps available to us. If you remembered back to when we hooked it up to the multimeter, we only have around 250 microamps coming out of there. So it's enough to turn this thing on, but just barely.